How we going, everyone? Big day again. So this is a bit of a moment, a lull moment between the rush of gardeners coming out to get their favourite veggies. Quick segment we're doing here is potting up some seedling tomatoes. You can see these have overgrown in the punnets. We've got some Romas, but I was going to call them Tommy Toes, but they are Romas. Now, I'm going to talk about separating them, and a lot of times we just do the same habit of pulling them apart, and that causes a little bit of tear and dieback in the root system, which can affect them, especially when they're this big. So I'm going to show you quickly how to separate these using a bucket of water. Soak them in, and a lot of you already practice this, folks. It's not something new, but for those who have never done it, sitting them in the water like this is a great way to loosen up the roots. You can see how they're just coming apart, soil's falling down. See that? Look at that. See, it's already coming apart comfortably. It's not going to hurt the plant. See, I've just pulled that apart, and we've got nice clean roots. Soak, put them down like that, and that's how we continue separating them underwater. Doing it in the air will cause a bit of tear, and if there's a bit of dryness in the soil as well, it's even worse. So we've got plenty of plants here from one little punnet, which is great. So for those who want punnets, by all means do this. It does set them back still because look, they've got no soil on them now. So by the time they network again, they lose a couple of weeks. So there's your plant, and then there's a plug. Chalk and cheese, all right? So that's the difference between single planted seedlings. Now you can buy them as individual plants like this in the larger maxi pots, as a young gentleman over there just grabbed himself a big handful of them, or a tray full. Now they're great, they're much more expensive. That's the only difference. These are only $1 each, folks. You can't go wrong with these. So now let's talk about planting them up. We all know how to plant up seedlings. I'm just going to keep these aside for a second. We've got withered plants in the background here. This is what happens. Cold weather knocked them out for 6. You can't control that. That's what happens, and a little bit wet underfoot. So put them aside. And these are the ones that have been transplanted earlier. Now I've got a bit of cocoa pith in this bucket here. I'm just going to put a little bit at the bottom, not too much, because with these, because they've got no roots on them, you've got to work really delicately with them. So you've got to open them up, and there's a decent root system on this, don't get me wrong. Nice, but you don't want to squash it in the one spot. So hold it up carefully and tap it down. Now, it can go a lot deeper than that, but for the purpose of the demonstration, I'm only going to go this deep for now, and that's it there. Now that's going to need a stake. Get yourself a little stake like this and clip it on there, and the job's done. You can take off these side leaves. You can either pinch them off or cut them off neatly. That's a typical potting up of a seedling there, folks, but doing it deeper, this is what I'm going to show you how you can do in your own garden or in a tray. Now, I have got some cocoa in here, but underneath there is a little bit of planting mix as well. I've got no trowels here, I'm just going to use my hands, that's okay. So I'm mixing up a little bit of planting mix with the cocoa just to make it a little bit lighter. So it's a 50-50 mix. It's a really good mix like that, folks. So you've got all the wonderful nutrients that you get out of your planting mix, and with the cocoa, just making it lighter. I'm going to add this in this seedling tray. You can do this in any sort of tray you like, a pot if you have, a long pot. And what we're talking about is laying down the tomato plant. And this is perfect, look at that. See that curve up there like that? See how it's already doing that? It's exactly what I need. I'm going to create a little furrow there. I'm going to drop my seedling inside. Let me pinch these leaves off first, like that. Imagine this is your garden bed, right? Do that there, drop the roots in and cover it over. All right? And cover those over there as well. What we've done there now is encouraged the little seedling to grow more roots along the stem. So anywhere where this stem is actually in contact with direct soil, it will encourage more roots to develop. So what you're doing in the long run is getting a bigger, stronger, healthier root system, and then in turn, a stronger and healthier plant above ground, and more than likely, lots more fruit as well. Just curl the top up, and if it doesn't curl up, just get a little stake and tie it up there like that. That's all you need to do, folks, just to hold that up above ground. So in the seedling tray is a great way to start, if you've got one, or you can come down to your garden centre and ask them for one and buy a couple of seedlings, and I'm sure they'll give you a little seedling tray to take home. Open the roots up neatly like that. I'm going to add more soil to this and curve this back up like that. And folks, that's the secret to bigger, juicier, healthier and more robust tomato plants, and obviously bigger, better, juicier fruit to enjoy as well. Now, if you want that sort of flavour in your fruit and you want to make sure the flowers don't fall off, use the black grit. That's what it's there for. It's going to help encourage bigger, stronger roots and encourage the flowers to set fruit. It'll stay on the plant so they can set fruit and grow bigger, juicier and healthier too. You'll find all this on our website, vasili'sgarden.com. Pop down to the garden centre from Wednesday till Sunday. And for the big malakas, well, stay tuned. I'll announce when the next batch is ready. Everything's still discounted for another day, folks, at vasili'sgarden.com. From me, Vasili, 30 fingers, Maresi.